Well, good morning. We've had a great morning already, and I want to tell you a story. And hopefully that story will create a little metaphor for you about what life is all about. I live in Southern California. I've been in California for over 20 years, but I was born and raised on the East Coast, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Can I hear any Philadelphia? Yep. All four of us are here today. We're excited. I can describe my entire childhood for you in one sentence. I weighed back then what I weigh now, and I was 4 feet shorter. My last name was Butterworth. Yeah, start to do the mental math on that. Not a very pretty picture, huh? And of course, to make it worse, where I went to high school, it was the athletes who were the cool kids. Back in Philly, we called them athletes, all right? Now, we got a big crowd here. Some of you are going to have to work with me. Maybe you went to school where the band was really tough, you know? Or chess club rules, all right? But where I went to school, it was the athletes. I couldn't get any participation in athletics. I only had one coach interested in me, actually. That was the offensive line coach. He used to follow me around in between classes. Butterworth, if we could get you on our offensive line, just kind of hike the ball and roll over. I mean, the defense would be lost for hours. You could score at will. Go home and ask your mom if we can go out for the football team. And I went home and I said, they want me to play football, Mom. And I can still remember my mom. No, no, no. And I said, why? She said, I'll never forget her answer. She says, I don't want my little Billy, which was the first oxymoron I had ever learned. I don't want my little Billy getting hurt. Folks, I'm not a medical doctor, but I believed it was physically impossible to injure me because you could not get to anything that you could damage. I mean, unless there's some sort of strained cellulite condition or something like that. But nonetheless, I was not allowed to play sports. Apologies to all the musicians in the room. I had to admit defeat early by becoming the back 3 rows of the marching band. And let me tell you, the guys will appreciate this, that's not where you attract the really cute chicks, okay? But we all have those epiphanies, those turning points, those amazing moments in our lives. To me, it was in social studies class. The bell rang, the teacher said, Butterworth, stay after class, I want to talk to you. I'll never forget, the room emptied out, I came to the front of the room, he looked up from grading papers, he says, Butterworth, have you ever thought about going out for the track team? And my first thought was, well, this is interesting. Kids make fun of me all the time. Now teachers are inviting me to stay after class for like one-on-one personal heckling. And I kind of wanted to mouth off to the guy, but I wanted to be respectful. He was in charge of my grade, and I remember in my little adolescent voice, said, well, sir, I don't think I'm very fast. And he laughed. He said, Butterworth, I'm not talking about track running. It's track and field, Butterworth. There are events that are perfect for you. They're called weight man events. Look at you, Butterworth. Weight man events. The shot put, you know, the ball, you put it under your chin. You don't throw it, you put it. You put it. And the discus, you know, the plate, the saucer. You've seen the famous statue of the discus thrower, and apparently my face went ash. He said, relax, relax. They wear clothes now when they throw this thing. And he said the phrase I'd hear for the next 4 years. If you could just get your beef behind one of these things, you could send it into orbit. Well, I went home with no expectation. I was convinced my parents were anti-athletic. I said they want me to go out for the track team, throw the shot put and the discus. My folks came alive. It was like, perfect. No, non-contact sport. Remember, I had to sign a form promising not to try to catch these things. But basically, overnight, I was transformed. I was a cool kid. I was an athlete. Now, winter track is all indoors. And if you're a weight man, that means you lift weights in there until it smells so badly, it's got to be spring and they'll let you outside, right? And I lifted weights to the best of my ability, but I really became a student of the form. To this day, I have 5 grown children. We're committed to the study of the shot put and the discus. Every 4 years, we get together for the 17 seconds of coverage it is given in our culture. But back then, the shot put, you started in the back of this circle, and you would slide across, and the coach was real big on when you let it go, you explode. And even when you explode, scream, rah! Promised an extra 3 feet if you screamed. And with the discus, you didn't slide through the circle. You spun around the circle like a spring uncoiling. Same thing, explode, rah! You know. And folks, all humility aside, I had beautiful form, especially in the discus. There was something almost hypnotic about all that fat rolling through the circle. People would just stop dead. Look at all that movement. So I got the positive out of the way. Good form. One weakness. No strength. Boom, right there. Boom, divot right there. Only guy they measured with a ruler. But I remember refusing to be discouraged. I thought there's got to be a reason for this, and eventually it happened. I want to freeze that for a second, take you to another part of my life. Very pleased to let you know I grew up in a wonderful home in Philadelphia, good solid blue-collar family, you know. You come home, you do your homework. Saturday, you do your chores. Sunday, you go to church, whether you want to go to or not. Went to church every Sunday. Some weekends, guns were involved. We were always there. Went to a very socially active church. By that I mean church softball in the spring, church basketball in the winter, church flag football in the fall. We were full service. Church bocce ball, church darts, church canasta. One spring they realized, we've never had an all-church track meet. And I thought to myself, yes, this is my one moment in time. This is when I will mop up against the church weenies. So we invited them to our public high school, and they all came. And I was over there, and all you athletes know there's this whole pregame or pre-meet psych out, right? So I would go through the form without the implements, just kind of run. They're there, whoa, that fat kid is good. We're going to eat our lunch. I had them right where I want them. But sure enough, with no strength, these kids that had never thrown it before, they're like, do you have to do everything the fat kid did, or can you just kind of let it go? Boom! Just went soaring. I mean, just like that, it was over. I mean, you have to come in first, second, or third in a track meet, or you don't score any points, right? Do I have any former track people here? Would you raise your hand? Yeah, interesting. No matter what, we got almost 8,000 people here. There's still only 3 people that ever did track. Anyway, no points. I'm sitting on the edge of the circle, contemplating if life is worth living. My teammates come over. I said, it's not good, boys. I didn't score a point. I didn't come in first, second, or third in either event. They said, you got one more chance. I said, no, I don't. I've run out of events. They said, not here. Over on the track. Bobby's supposed to run the 440. He just pulled a muscle. You're the only guy available. You are going to run the 440. And they're putting runner spikes on me. And here I am, the size of a middle Atlantic state, but I've got spikes on me, and I'm feeling fast. And it all happened very quickly. We went over, we got the lane assignment. I was in lanes 4, 5, and 6, as I recall. And next thing you know, boom, gun sounds, we're off. Now, everybody knows what we're talking about, right? The 440 is one lap around the track, and the track is that thing that surrounds the high school football field, right? Everybody with me? You start at the 50-yard line in front of the home stands. You run 110 yards to that goalpost. You run 220 yards to the 50-yard line by the visitor stands. You run 330 yards to this goalpost, and you come back and break the tape exactly where you started 440 yards later to the thronging applause of the crowd. Yes. So I took off, and all of a sudden I realized, I have no idea how to run this race. And I looked in the infield, my teammates were there, and they saw my pain, and they screamed to me, this strategy, it's only a lap, which I've since likened to phrases, it's only terminal. I had never run a race before. I had no idea how to do it, but I decided, well, I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to break it down into quarters. Kind of bite-sized, manageable objectives. Who knows, 30 years from now, I might be able to speak to a really cool group of people in Denver, and I can turn this into a business message. So my first quarter goal was very simple and very modest. I wanted to get to that goalpost and still be standing. And I'm very pleased to announce, ladies and gentlemen, I achieved my first goal. Not only was I still standing, I was neck and neck with the leader. Of course, at this point, it's never even dawned on me that these people are saving something. So I quickly changed my second goal. By the time I get to the 50-yard line by the visitor stands, I'm going to have first place all to myself. Now, that was an especially amazing 110 yards, folks. The fat was really moving. People, again, were stopping. Look at all that tonnage moving around that track. And I got to the 50-yard line by the visitor stands. I had first place all to myself. Now, mentally, I'm starting to go nuts. I'm thinking things like, I can't believe it. All these years with the shot put and the discus, I'm a runner. I mean, this is way before Chariots of Fire. I'm sure the orchestra would have come up. I'd have been running barefoot on the beach, speaking Scottish. I mean, I was pumped. So maybe I did get a little ahead of myself, because my goal at the 3:30 was to have all my remarks prepared for when I actually won the gold medal. I want to thank my mom, my dad, my shot put coach, all the little people, you know. And I got over to that goalpost. And ladies and gentlemen, that's where it happened. And by that I mean, I'm going to tell you the rest of the story as it was later told to me. Now, all the runners usually come up to me. I'll tell you what happened over there, blonde boy. That's where you hit the wall. That's where the gorilla got on your back. That's where the baby grand fell from the stars. You know, I've heard all the expressions. All I know is I felt terrible. Hate to say this right before lunch. I felt like two guys had come up behind me, giving me needle injections in my buns. One needle was filled with battery acid because everything inside of me was stinging beyond belief. And the other needle was filled with Jell-O because everything that was once hard inside of me was very soft. So as you can imagine, I'm running in a very unorthodox way at this point. And I'm the only guy in 10 miles that doesn't know what's going on. The fat boy is going down. And my teammates start screaming, fall in, you know, fall into the infield, big guy. I mean, you can roll around the football field for hours and not affect the outcome of the track meet. You roll onto the track, what are we going to do? We're going to have to get a crane out here. You know, all this stuff was going through their minds. I fell out. I rolled around. Anybody old enough to remember the cinder tracks? I'm eating cinders and I'm crying and I'm sweating and I'm thinking, this is the most horrible pain I've ever felt. No sooner do I think that than I hear all the church boys have caught up with me. And they're like, how are you supposed to get around this? What is this, a steeplechase? What, do I got to scale this thing? Nobody wanted to take the extra minutes to run around me, so they just spiked right over me, leaving me blood, sweat, and tears at the 3:30 while they went on and finished their race. Folks, it was the most embarrassing moment of my life to that point.